On the News Hour debate tonight, A.S. Dulat, former Raw Cheif, who says that had Vajpayee been in a position to head the government, and if he had been heading the government, then Afzal Guru would never have been hanged. This controversial remark of Mr. Dulat quoted widely in the media, and he's debating today with Subramanian Swamy of the Janata Party. Mr. Dulat, you know, is this just your hunch? Because factually you're probably incorrect, because it was decided in a meeting at Vajpayee's residence, if I'm not mistaken, in October 2006, that the BJP will start a campaign demanding Afzal Guru's hanging. Are you aware of that? Were you aware of that when you made this comment?
No, I was not aware of that. But please remember, Arnab, that in 2006, Mr. Vajpayee was in the opposition. He was not Prime Minister. And a lot of things change when you're in power and out of power. And you know, I'm sure you understand that. This thing is, I was wondering, in fact, why I'm being hauled up. Also, I saw the statement attributed to me, and my friend Deeptiman says that both the BJP and the Congress should be unhappy with me. On the contrary, I feel both should have reasons to be happy. What has been reported is largely correct, except for one remark attributed to me about Umar Abdullah, that he had completely lost credibility in the valley. I didn't say that, and I wouldn't say that. What I said was that Umar is going to find himself extremely vulnerable. And, you know, that has been borne out by Umar's angry reaction, which came yesterday. So that is the background. And
what about Vajpayee? No, on what basis do you claim?
Yes,
on what basis did you make the claim about Vajpayee? If he had been Prime Minister, he wouldn't have let Afzal Guru hang. It's based on whatever little knowledge I have of Kashmir and whatever little interaction I had with Prime Minister Vajpayee. As during my 2 years in the RNAW and 3.5 in the PMO, there are certain convictions that the great man had. One of them was that we needed to move forward in Kashmir. And the second parallel conviction was that we needed to end this permanent confrontation with Pakistan. And he stuck to that time and time again. You know what happened? He took the bus to Lahore in early 1999, and almost immediately after that, Kargil happened, which really shook the government. And then, followed by that, we had a coup in Pakistan, masterminded by the architect of Kargil. And yet, Prime Minister Vajpayee invited the same General Musharraf to Agra in 2001. Then you recall that in December 2001, we had the attack on Parliament when we came close to going to war with Pakistan. But Prime Minister Vajpayee never gave up on his endeavor for peace with Pakistan. I remember his addressing a public meeting in Srinagar on April 17, 2003, where, to the great joy of Kashmiris, he said, you know, I have tried twice before for peace with Pakistan, and both times we've been let down. But I am going to give it another try. I'm not going to give up so easily. And he did go to Pakistan in 2004. And these were pretty tumultuous years, you know. It was not easy for him. Now here we have a Prime Minister, an equally good Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, who has been, you know, I think much more a man of peace. But in the last almost 9 years now, he's not been able to make a visit to Pakistan. Why I'm saying this about Afzal Guru is, it's not a question, it's not about the death penalty or being for or against or the hanging of Afzal Guru, but I think the timing is all wrong. If he deserved to be hanged, if he had to be hanged, He should have been hanged, I think, latest by 2006. The Supreme Court had decided before that, and his mercy petition had been turned down. So why did we wait 7 years?
Well, Mr. Subramanian Swamy, let me get you in.
And now one minute more, just 1 minute more. You see, as you remember, as you know, Arnab, we had 3 very bad years in Kashmir, 3 very bad summers. 2008, 2009, 2010. And now we've had 2 years, 2 good years. Last year was a glorious year. It was the best that we've had in a very long time. And now we are putting the clock back in Kashmir, where, you know, peace is always fragile.
I understand that's a bigger point. That's a bigger point of the overall implications on which we can agree. There are overall domestic implications. There are implications for Jammu and Kashmir, and, you know, there are implications for the security framework in the country. You know, on your specific point, because we are making an assessment about Vajpayee, and this is coming, Mr. Subramanian Swamy from AS Dulat, who was heading the Raw between 1999 and 2000, before being appointed as a advisor to the Prime Minister on Jammu and Kashmir. Do you think Mr. Dulat's assessment is correct? That if Vajpayee had been the Prime Minister, Afzal Guru would not have been hanged?
Well, I'm in the unusual position of defending Vajpayee for a change. And I must say that he's been unfair to Vajpayee for a number of reasons. First of all, Vajpayee is not in a position to rebut physically. Therefore, it's basically we don't have a first-hand rebuttal available. Second is that I would think that, knowing the system of government, I don't think Mr. Vajpayee would have much option if the Supreme Court decides that somebody should get a death penalty, and then later on the President rejects their mercy petition. He wouldn't have had much option left, and Mr. Vajpayee was essentially a consensus man, and therefore he would have seen, after the President would have rejected it, he would have gone by the consensus in the party, and the party would have clamored for immediate execution of Mr. Afzal Guru. The third thing, which is I find a bit surprising, is that this whole argument of Mr. Dulat, who's of course had a very excellent record as an intelligence officer, but his whole analysis is that Vajpayee wanted friendship with Pakistan, therefore he would not have hanged Afzal Guru. Now, Afzal Guru is an Indian citizen, and therefore hanging of or execution of Mr. Afzal Guru has got nothing to do with Pakistan, is no business of Pakistan. And I think Mr. Vajpayee would have regarded it that way also, that he can continue to be friendly with Pakistan, but Afzal Guru is not a factor in that. So I find whatever Mr. Dulat has said,
but Mr. Dulat
is an inference.
No, but Mr. Dulat has been advisor to. Can you, Mr. Dr. Subramanian Swamy, dismiss what Mr. Dulat is saying, given his own background, and he was advisor to Vajpayee on Jammu and Kashmir. He has worked closely with Vajpayee. Therefore, he's reading his mind. He was instrumental in shaping the BJP's Kashmir strategy. So you cannot exactly dismiss what Mr. Dulat is saying lightly as his personal inference.
I can say with authority that I knew Vajpayee much better than anybody else, because I joined the Jansangh when he was the president of the party, and I've toured the country with him. I stayed with him. I've known him for a very long period. We have differences, of course, there's no question about it. I was a critic at one stage. But the fact is that I know his nature. His nature was never to do what he exactly wanted to do. He often went along with the consensus of the party. But for instance, on nuclear weapons, he was from the beginning against nuclear weapons. But when he saw an overwhelming opinion of the party that nuclear weapons is what the party wants, he went along with the consensus, and in fact set off explosions which led the Americans to put sanctions on us. In fact, so I find this extremely difficult, that on a matter like this he would, and on this flimsy basis that it would hurt our relations with Pakistan, Mr. Vajpayee would have not executed Afzal Guru.
In fact, Mr. Dulat, in November 2006, there was an extremely stinging attack by Mr. Vajpayee when he said the government is confused about tackling terrorism. November 2006. He didn't name Afzal Guru, but he said the country is still to fulfill its duty towards those who died fighting terrorists on December 13, 2001. you know, where you come from is that he wanted to make peace. Several prime ministers of India have wanted to make peace, including Dr. Manmohan Singh, everlasting peace with Pakistan. But at the end of the day, he's also a politician who has to understand the pulse of the people. Again, I'm asking you, you know what he said in November 2006. Is your assessment therefore flawed? Because you're looking at Vajpayee through the prism of the Agra summit, the bus trip. You know, you're looking at him through a certain lens.
I'm looking at Prime Minister Vajpayee, and it's very difficult to argue with Mr. Subramanian Swamy, because as he says, he knows Mr. Vajpayee much better than I do. I never suggested, I don't know how he got the impression that I suggested there was any connection between Pakistan and Afzal Guru, not at all. Nor was I trying to belittle Prime Minister Vajpayee. I think, in fact, what I have said, my remark, was intended to only prove his statesmanship. Nothing more, nothing less. And what I was saying is, and I say it again, that if Afzal Guru was to be hanged, he should have been hanged in 2006. Why in 2013?
No, are you, Mr. Dulat? Please don't mind. I'll be rather direct. Are you mixing up your Mr. Dulat? Are you letting your own views, your own personal views on how this Afzal Guru case should have been, you know, dealt with, influence your interpretation of how Vajpayee would have dealt with it?
Not at all.
No?
Not at all. Not at all. You see, let me put it like this, Arnab. You know, today, as I said, I can't challenge Mr. Swamy. I mean, you know, he's a very senior citizen, very senior politician. There's no question on that. But I wish you had somebody like Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni on this, and I would like to hear what he might have had to say, because we were in the PMO together, you know.
Why are you amused, and Dr. Swamy?
He had a good idea.
Why are you amused, Dr. Swamy?
Well, you see, Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni also knew him only in the later stages. I've known Vajpayee in his formative stages.
That's
69, 70,
problem, sir. That is our problem.
71, 74.
That is our problem.
I've known him for almost 15 years. Both as a friend and as an opponent.
That's right.
So you say you knew him as a politician, and as a politician he would have never taken the line that Mr. Dulat says he could have.
Absolutely. The Vajpayee was a practical politician. He never went against the consensus.
And he wouldn't have gone against the consensus even now, Mr. Dulat, would he?
Now, I don't want to get into that debate about consensus, but let me only react to the extent that I never once saw anybody in the party challenge Mr. Vajpayee once he took a decision. In the years that he was Prime Minister, once he decided on something, I didn't see anybody challenge him. And I would like to go further than that, you know. If you ask me, let's forget Prime Minister Vajpayee. Unfortunately, you know, he's not in a position to say anything. I would go to the extent to say that even if you had a BJP government today, this decision may not have been taken. Now you can challenge it as much as you like.
You want to respond to that, Subramanian Swamy? Why is Mr. Dulat pushing the envelope on this? I mean, I don't want to respond with all the written statements of the BJP, which has been stepping up the attack on Afzal Guru's execution right since Vajpayee led that attack in November 2006. But I'd like your response.
Let me, 1 minute.
Okay, elaborate, and then I'll go to Subramanian Swamy. Elaborate. Why do you think so?
Yeah, you know, no, you just mentioned that the BJP has gone to town on Afzal Guru. They've gone to town even on Umar Abdullah. They say he's speaking a separatist language. Now, if Umar Abdullah is a separatist, then God help us in Kashmir, you know. And if the Abdullahs are separatists, and you know, I've never known anybody to doubt either Dr. Farooq Abdullah's nationalist credentials or Umar's
No, but what does that have to do?
And,
that is their political compulsion today. That, you know, the National Conference is trying to keep itself politically afloat in Jammu and Kashmir. No, I want you to justify your statement that the BJP government would not have carried out the execution.
What am I saying?
You are a former Raw Chief. Why do you think so?
The whole issue is...
Give me something substantial.
Because this whole thing has been politicized. The whole matter is politicized. So, every word, every statement is politicized now. So
why would the decision not be carried out?
Laugh, Subramanian
Swamy? Subramanian Swamy?
Well, you see, he says the future government of BJP would not have also hanged him. Now, is he saying that if Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of a future government, he would not have hanged Afzal Guru? Well, that's a great tribute. I mean, he should tell the liberals of India to cool down about Modi, who are right now having a great fright that what will happen if Modi becomes Prime Minister. I think, you see, that's a speculation. He can make his projections. But I don't think that any future government of NDA would ever hesitate a minute. Even right now, you can find Mulayam Singh welcoming the hanging of Afzal Guru, and even Mr. Digvijay Singh is now supporting the hanging of Afzal Guru. So I can't understand in this atmosphere how a BJP government would not have would hesitate to hang Mr. Afzal Guru after the Supreme Court has said so and the President has rejected the mercy petition. That's the question of projection.
Well, you see, when we, Mr. Swamy, sorry to interrupt you, when we talk of mercy petition, this is not the only mercy petition which has been rejected. Neither was Afzal Guru the only one on death row. There have been people who've been there longer than him.
No, I'm talking of the Congress government. I have no expectation that they will be sensible about it. They should have hanged Rajiv Gandhi's killers a long time ago.
Well, I think this is going to be one of those puzzles, gentlemen. What would Vajpayee have done if he was Prime Minister? Mr. Dulat says, as a former Raw Chief, he would have not hanged Afzal Guru. I'm actually quite surprised, Mr. Dulat, that after what you've said has been printed, the Bharatiya Janata Party has not yet reacted officially to it. Maybe we'll ask them what they think, and they'll tell us. Thank you very much. But
I give you another.
Yes.
I give you another thing. You ask any Kashmiri leader on this, what he would think.
Well, I see no reason.
I mentioned Sudhindra Kulkarni, but you ask.
Well,
you ask any Kashmiri leader on this.
Well, I think the most authentic source, unfortunately, Mr. Vajpayee, is not here right now, to give us a reaction. We'll try and get some kind of a sense of what the BJP thinks.
I stand by what you said, that, yeah, it is my personal opinion. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
Well, but it's a issue worth debating. Thank you very much, Mr. Dulat, former Raw Chief, who says Vajpayee would not have hanged Afzal Guru, and Subramanian Swamy. Thank you very much for that chat. Thank you, gentlemen. And that's it on the News Hour tonight. My question to you as I wrap up, a story Times Now is following, is this. Should the government now investigate, share details, reveal those who took bribes, the Indians who took bribes in the 3,700 crore Augusta-Westland chopper deal? Tell us what you think on a story that is assuming major national significance.